at the top.
All
Hey,
right, we are
hey,
live. We are live. Yeah,
we did
I'm so excited. All right,
it.
so I guess I'll just start the whole spiel, right? This has been a
Yes.
long time in the making.
Yes,
We went
it
live
has.
last week, and that has uncovered and developed into new things that we're going to talk about today and really just dive into the power of connections. LinkedIn, and then this platform that we're on today, which is Restream, and kind of like how we
Yes.
discovered it, why we decided to kind of step out of the comfort zone, especially me,
Mm-hmm.
stepping out of my comfort zone and
Mm-hmm.
doing something new. So before we dive all the way in, we are going to bring in Miss Lovely Marshall and really understand her mission, and how she is the powerhouse of what she is building right now. And I'm really excited because I know this is going to be amazing right now. So, Lovely, please tell us who you are, a little
Yeah.
bit about you, and so we can just dive right in, girl.
Yeah, yeah. So who I am, I think I shared this with you. I'm still discovering who I am. I did a podcast and I said that I'm more of a becoming Lovely Marshall, but my mission right now is I am on a mission to add another zero to your bank account, to your bank account, to everybody's bank accounts.
Hey.
And how I'm doing this is through career coaching and really just taking strategies that I have learned from working at Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, really helping Fortune 10 companies to move forward and being dynamic. Sorry, I'm laughing because I did a class and they said sometimes you just need to pause and say so I did a quick pause. It wasn't the way that I expected. So thank you.
That was amazing. So, one of the things that we wanted to kind of talk about is a part
Yes.
of like that connection, right? And how powerful building connections and how that kind of flows into the rest of our segment, right? And part of
Mhm.
that is how we met, right? And how we were
Yes.
able to build a connection just from networking and hi, how
Mhm.
are you? Yada yada,
Mhm.
like starting with that basic, but then finding moments to follow up and
Mhm.
understand each other and really
Yes.
pour into each other, where it's been benefiting us, right? And
Mhm.
then also about what we did yesterday, how we were both ended up in the same room and we were able to really use that, which was so powerful. So explain to me in your way how connections, like what how valuable they are for you in your journey, on your mission right now.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that I am a super connector because I believe that really your network really determines your net worth. And I have seen that throughout all of my career. And I did have the amazing honor of connecting with Ashley at this Verizon business event. I had not yet quit my job. I was going to turn in my resignation letter, but just hadn't done it yet. And I went to this event, and she caught me on it because you meet so many people, you meet so many amazing people at networking. But she personally tagged me and collaborated with me. So you talk about memorable. I was like, oh, this girl, she's a big deal. So
Oh,
I reached back out to her as a way to connect. And yesterday we went to this event and we hugged immediately. And I said, Ashley, this is a strategy. You will share your people with who you met with. I will share my people who I met with, but we don't need to talk to each other. We
mm,
need to get to know other people because I already know you, Ashley. I know how you can help me with my SEO. You're the SEO bestie, SEO baddie. I'm the powerhouse. But we need to now know other people's stories. I need to connect other people with you and you need to connect other people with me. And that was a game changer because we were so strategic. She sat on one side, I sat on the other side, and then we both met people just by sitting down. Because listen, these events, everyone is coming alone. Like 9 times out of 10, they don't have their girlfriend, they don't have their boyfriend with them. And
Yeah.
so they're lonely. And if you are not sitting by someone, it invites the opportunity for you to connect your Bill Gates, your next Warren Buffett, because you are open. So this is a thing as we talk about connections. For your next event, I dare you to try this. Separate from your pack. You all work the room and tell each other about each other. So I was like, yeah, I met this incredible young lady and she's going to help me about my SEO business because I need to get ranked a little bit higher. Like you can Google me, but I'm not as great. And she has all of these tools. So it was definitely a lie. I didn't just meet her that day, but what I said about her was the truth. And hopefully people will then come and follow her and do it. So I dare you to try it. If you want to stop being the best kept secret, the next time you
Mm.
go to an event, do not stay with your team. I know it's comfortable, but you have
Yeah.
to get uncomfortable so that way more people know about you. How'd you feel, Ashley?
Yes. Okay. So a few things that I'm taking from this, right? So let's step back a little bit because most people that are on my platform, they know that I'm going through this journey of doing the uncomfortable, right? That's
Mhm.
one. Two, I am learning to show up in spaces where I might not have anybody that knows me there, right? And
Mm.
that as an outgoing introvert, which I have found that I'm not alone on these internet streets of being that, it takes us a while to feel comfortable in our skin to show up in our best light, right? But yesterday's event, because I already was mentally preparing myself, right, that I was going to be in a room with people that I will not know, right? And
Mhm.
to see a familiar face, I automatically, my guard kind of dropped, right? Which is very
Mm.
important. When we see familiar faces, it's like, okay, who? Like we know people in the room, right? But the
Yeah.
thing that was really strategic is that just because we know somebody in the room doesn't mean that we have to stick together like glue because it's comfortable, right?
Mhm.
So knowing that you were in the room and you were like, okay, Ashley, I'm glad that we both made it.
Yep.
Here we go. But this is the deal, right? Let's divide and let's conquer
Yes.
because we'll be able to have different conversations. And you know what was so
Mhm.
powerful is that in some of my conversations, your name naturally came up. So what did that mean? That
Mm.
means that you were working the room. And so when I
Yeah.
was saying certain things, right, and it triggered them to recall, oh, I spoke to
Mhm.
Lovely Marshall. Da, 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 da.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh yes,
Mhm.
I know her. It
Mhm.
automatically validate authority, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we were both in the room making our rounds, right? And having
Mhm.
very different personalities, but we were both in the
Yes.
room being able to have those meaningful conversations while also validating my friend across the way, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that I
Same.
feel was very powerful, and that is something that I am going to take on to the next. Right, I'm gonna pass it forward, and the
Yes.
next time that I have a networking event where maybe I don't know that many people, but I know a few. I'm gonna make
Mhm.
sure I definitely want to connect with them, but I also want to be
Mhm.
like, listen, if you get to speak to such and such, let's connect. Let's change
Right.
exchange
Right.
exchange why can't I speak exchange contacts,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
let's really dive into what we can do to really optimize this, right? Optimize this
Mhm. Mhm.
opportunity. And I feel like we really did do that. And then, some of the people that I was speaking to, you were showing me like, girl, make sure you stay connected, right?
Yes.
Because our conversations with that one person might have been
Yes.
different, right?
Yes.
But
Yes. I
they're
was
still
actually
very
gonna say
valuable.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, your conversations and the gems that you get with people, for me, everybody knows it. Oh, Ashley's like, oh, yeah, let me get the details. Oh, no, I need one, two, three. Okay, we're good to go. I'm going to ask you about your kids, the dog, the house. So I might get no other things about you where Ashley will get to know the business side. However, I'm able to allow Ashley to remember that there was one person particularly we both were impressed by, but he said that his goal is to be on podcasts. my friend has a podcast. So I said, when you email him, make sure you introduce yourself as a podcast owner. And that's a way for him to answer your emails above the rest, to say,
Right.
hey, this is, I would love to have you on my next podcast as a guest, then that sort of lowers the barrier versus, hey, I followed up with you. Could you do this for me? Could you get me connected to this person? Could you get me connected to that person? And so I am very
Mhm.
excited about what's going to come from that, since I know that he shared with me about his goal as well to get on more stages, because I shared with him that my goal is to get on 25 stages for 2025. And so I appreciate you, Ashley. You are one of the 25. Excited.
Yeah. Yes, I am so happy that you said that. And then also, you were able to hold me
Mm,
accountable, right? And so sometimes we need that
mhm.
person in the corner to that understands our goals, but then is not going to let us
Mhm.
slack on getting
Mhm.
there, right? And so I could have, and what I was planning on sending them was more so like, hey, like, thank you for taking your
Mhm.
time and just keeping it real
Mhm.
general and getting on their calendar. And you're like, girl, don't
Mhm.
underestimate the power of having people, having men that are
Mhm.
in certain,
Mhm.
status, right? And that can give value to my
Mhm.
community. Don't sleep on
Yes.
that
Yes.
opportunity. Right. And so that allowed for me to take your advice. And that's something that I feel like when you're building
Mhm.
connections and when you make that really genuine connection like we have, to allow for ourselves, right, to be in the acceptance of training,
Yes.
right? Because at the end of the day, if it's real genuine, then it's only out for good,
Mhm.
right? It's to uplift, it's to pull the greatness out that we can see in each other when we're having just our everyday
Right.
conversation,
Right.
right? But then when that opportunity comes, you're like, girl, remember this
Yes.
is this is
Yes.
this, right? Or even like when we talk and like you say something really good, I'm like, girl, did you write that down? Right? So it's a back and forth thing that allows for us to keep that
Right.
fire ignited, because sometimes it can be lonely when we're in
So
this
lonely.
entrepreneurship and building this business. Yes. And so that's why I feel like definitely the connections, and both being people persons definitely comes, even if I know like a lot of introverts are like, well, I once I get to know people, it's good, but we have to start to get to know
Mhm.
people,
Mhm.
right? So we have to be willing, and especially when you're in the business of doing
Mhm.
business. Part of that is to building those connections and getting out of our comfort
Yes.
zone, um, meeting people that might not look like us, that
Mhm.
speak like us, right? That might not even have the similar
Right.
interests. Like they don't have to be a carbon copy of
Mhm.
us, right? Diversify our
Yes.
connections, and that's the things that I was able to do,
Mhm.
right? I had some things in mind that I was seeking, like when I was trying to speak to different
Mhm.
ones, and so I was able to definitely find women business owners that
Right.
were in business longer than me,
Wow.
right? And the reason why I wanted to do that, because they have the experience, they have the journey, right? And even if they're not in the same field, which they weren't, there's a lot of cross networking and connections and
Mhm.
resources. And that was one of my strategies that I did going into the event. And then also speaking to those, like the person that you were
Mhm.
mentioning, that might not be my ideal
Mhm.
client, but can definitely have a meaningful
Yes.
conversation where I'm able to pull out the knowledge
Yes.
for. And so part of it kind of dives into the next kind of thing in the really good
Mhm.
segue, as far as like we made those
Mhm.
connections, we had a
Yes.
strategy, we divided and
Yes.
conquer, and now it's like, what's next? How do we follow up with these
Mhm.
ones, right? How do we use LinkedIn? How do we use the
Mhm.
emails? How do we use these different sources to meet them where
Mhm.
they are and then still be top of
Right.
mind for these?
Right.
So how would you, like, what's your strategy, or what can you give those that are watching today some strategies on, or even like what I need to
Mhm.
do right next? Like, okay, I gained all these cards and digital
Right.
connections. Some people even exchange numbers right then and
Yes.
there, right? But now what's next? Because now it's another day.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I will say one thing that Ashley did not mention, because her and I are very brilliant. And when we get together, just like being on this call today, there are things that I'm writing down that she's doing that I'm like, oh, I got to make sure that I do this. I am a lifelong learner, and everything is an opportunity. Please, please, please record your conversations. If you are with that one friend and you know that things are going to happen, because I guarantee you, you will never say it the second time around. I was like, yeah, the guy told me I should say something about the sparkle or something. And I did it so good the first time. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's what you should say. And I still have yet to remember it, but I'm going to remember
Oh,
exactly what we said. But from now on, I'm like, Ashley, we need to record our conversations, get on Zoom and just
yeah.
talk and strategize, because this is what you call a mastermind group. Your connections are
Yes.
masterminds. So even if it was like, hey, do this with the guy, do this, connect here. Here's the upcoming event of like what's next. How can we go forward and move on this? Always record your conversations. I promise it is so powerful. I need to buy a dash cam and invest in that because I'm always having conversations while I'm going to these events. So, in terms of strategies, I really believe masterminds, even you and I, we take time to connect and really do a follow through. Okay, what are we going to talk about? How will we
Mhm.
amplify this event? Did you know that this next event is coming up? Okay, I can't make this event, but you can. So, oh, true story. True story. She could not make an event, and the lady who the event that she could not make ended up being one of the strategist person. And I was like, I know her because I went to that event, but you were double booked. So, girl, I got her information. This is how we can do it.
Yep.
That's also too the same thing. If there are two events that's happening and everyone who's here, I know we have people all global. We got people from UK following us, people from Dubai. We're gonna have people from South Africa. I'm claiming it. The world will is gonna go global, amplify my biz.
Yeah.
But in the Houston, where we live at, you can literally be at one place that's normally 30 minutes, that will now take you 1 hour, just depending on the day. So
Yes.
if you don't even have a team, get you a network and
Yeah.
literally say, hey, I'm going here and you go there. Now, listen, I have had some people who I thought were my mastermind group and they were not. You
Mm,
will learn. You will learn the people who withhold information and
mm,
then you just don't share anything else with them. But try to connect with people, because Ashley and
yeah.
I have been able to help each other. She's invited me into rooms that I never heard of, and I'm sharing things with her that she may not have heard of, like with this Restream opportunity, which that we're gonna get to next, and even podcast connections. I'm like, girl, this is
Yes.
the guy. Connect with him. So you will have your mastermind groups. And if you feel that if that person isn't significant or isn't valuable, cut them loose. We talked about blocking your boss, block them. They don't need to be a part of your inner circle. So
Yes.
that's what I would say as our strategy.
Yes.
Record your
Yes.
conversation.
Yes, and then I was gonna say also that when you're saying like to when we have different events and things like that, it all goes back to the mastermind because we have to know what each other is seeking, right? So some of the things like we have learned, we talked about it, right? Some of the places that I might go, they're good for you to get brand awareness, but it's not where your ideal client is. And that's okay, right? But it's only going to take us to understand each other, understand what our ideal client is, understand what rooms are going to benefit us as partnerships or as leads, right? And that takes time, it takes nurturing. So I'm glad that you brought that out, because if it's not really fitting in, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to cross them off. It's just not, they're just not a part of your mission in this mastermind that you're trying to create. And it doesn't have to be a daily thing, right? We don't have to commit to anything crazy monthly, weekly. It literally, let this happen naturally. Don't
Exactly.
put your pressure.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
it goes to show that as a solopreneur, before you have this big grand team, you still can have a team, right? You
Yes.
still can
Oh
build
my
resources.
gosh. That
Yeah.
is so good. I like that. The power of a team while you're a
Yeah.
solopreneur. And to be fair, I wasn't saying block them necessarily. I am saying that if Ashley felt like, okay, well, every single time I connect with Lovely, and she's like, well, tell me something else, and tell me something else, and tell me something else, and
Mhm.
then I'm
No,
not
you're
giving her
absolutely
anything together, then
yeah,
no, that is draining. We are,
absolutely,
like you said, solopreneurs. We're already giving so much. The whole
absolutely,
idea of a mastermind group is to help to accelerate you further. That's what we want.
absolutely.
We want to be accelerated further, faster. So if
Correct.
I can't be there, your presence can speak for me and we can talk about it and say, hey, here's a person that I met. Here's why
Yeah.
you should connect with them and even mention my name. I can mention Ashley's name and she can mention my name because I recognize the power of her being a super connector, that she's going to leave a genuine impact. And
Yeah.
what I love also, too, that I'm learning is feature other people. Like
Yeah.
Ashley does a lot of features for other businesses to get
Mhm.
her recognized and inviting people as a collaborator. If you want to be known, like
Yeah.
none of us want to be a best kept secret, tag them as a collaborator. Don't just tag them. That is the worst. No, not the worst. That's a good thing, but the best way to do power moves, remember, because we're powerhouses, and you want to be a powerhouse, invite them as a collaborator. Because
Yeah.
when you do a collaborator, it goes on both of your profiles if they accept it. Now, if they
Yeah.
don't, then it's just a tag and nothing happens to it.
Correct.
But when you say a collaborator, and for instance, like I have people who have 95,000 followers, and I only had 10K at my highest before I shut everything down. And now my name is linked to them, and it says that this was lovely as your story post.
Yeah.
So think about that. These are ways that you can be able to maneuver the system and get your brand recognition that you need to do, because sometimes Ashley may never be my client. She's not looking necessarily for a career because she's a business owner, but Ashley has friends, Ashley has cousins, Ashley has sisters. So it will be, well, Lovely did this for me, so I really want to refer her. And I know that you're looking to move your career or to grow your business in terms of social media. I can connect you with someone who I know will take care of you and you will feel empowered. And that's the same thing that I feel about her.
Yes, this is awesome, and I agree. I definitely agree. And then also, like, it's okay if you have to have a strategy where you're a collaborator on somebody's platform for X amount of time, and then you can choose not to be a collaborator, right? I had somebody do that. I was collaborator with them for the simple sole purpose of amplify my biz, but obviously, you know, if that's not part of her aesthetic and the amplify my biz is over, right? And she left it up for a while, she can choose to uncollaborate. And that's perfectly fine because you already tapped into both of each other's audiences, right? So just be strategic. That's mostly what we're really trying to say is just be strategic in all of the things. I'm actually on here trying to look at the live notes, the people in the comments too. So if you see me looking around, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm
Oh,
doing, girl.
good deal, because it's nothing is coming up on my end, so I'm really glad that you are
So
checking.
okay, so anybody when it's watching at this part, right? You know, when we are on Restream, and we're gonna get to that after we tap into what to do with LinkedIn, right?
Mhm.
But real quick with Restream, it's delayed. So I'm looking at
Yes,
us,
it
I'm speaking to
is.
us, and then I went and I was like, something told me I didn't see that I was live on my phone. And I'm like, let me see. So when I went to Instagram on the desktop, I needed to hit go live. So it's delayed. So they're gonna see this after we already spoke about it, you know, see this part of it. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
But I wanted to make sure that people were in, you know, in the comments and that they were able to see. Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody was like, I'm not there watching. Other was like, we
Okay.
finally get to see us on live.
Yeah.
We're excited about that too. So this is something where we are learning with you, but we're not
Yes,
letting the fear
yes,
of unknown,
yes,
the fear of
yes.
stuff failing like it was last week. We're not allowing that to stop us, procrastinate us, or make us feel stuck. And those are
Yes.
the key things that would hold me back as a
Mhm.
entrepreneur in the past, in the very close past,
Mm,
right? And so having somebody about the connections like Lovely has
yeah.
been able to push me in some of those moments where I'm like, this is ridiculous now,
Mhm,
right? But we've been able
mhm.
to uncover greatness for it and find the
Yes.
positive in it.
Mhm.
That's one of the things I
Yes.
just want to wrap up when it comes
Yes.
to connections. Okay, so now we got the
Yes.
connections. We are building not just our mastermind group of people naturally, right, based off of organic
Mhm.
connections. We are also building partnerships. We are sharing resources with others because we do not want to just keep everything to ourselves, right? Gatekeeping, whatever the term is. At the end of the day, the more that we pour into others and we receive it naturally, right? More happiness in giving than there is in receiving. I try to live by that. But then I also
Mhm.
need to know that I need to accept the giving to me, right? And so that's the
Yeah.
season I'm in, that continue to pour into others, but allow people to pour into me. And when I find that there's a good match to it, then I hone in on that relationship as well, right? So having these people in
Mhm.
your different buckets is important, building connections.
Yes.
But if we just had this amazing event that we went to, we
Yes.
strategized, we did everything we're supposed to do. Now we try to look professional and we want to show up on LinkedIn and we
Yes.
want to be able to let them know that, hey, it wasn't a right? We want to navigate and really understand how we can stay top of mind for them, right? How we
Mhm.
can show
Mhm.
like, hey, the conversation we had yesterday was great, but I just wanted to connect and say thank you for your time, or I want to be able to get on a call, 15-minute call, chat
Mhm.
with you, like, or I would like to have you on my podcast, right? So how can we utilize LinkedIn to really make that connection go further?
Yes. Yes. So you segued it correctly in. The best way to do this for LinkedIn is number one, decide exactly because when we had our SEO VIP day, not everybody had quit their jobs yet. So the best way to maximize LinkedIn and really show up is block your boss. That's the best way. I know a lot of you, they feel like my boss, she's so supportive or he's so supportive. I have been a manager more times than not. And when I had a good employee, I regret to admit this, but I did not want to let them go. It is 20 times harder to find an incredible person to replace than not. And there have been other people who worked 9 to 5 while they were building their side hustles, and they said that they felt like it was threatening. So people were going to write them up, and they would tell other people. So the first thing for you to do is decide if you are in this bucket where you currently have a 9 to 5 and you have your side hustle because you're trying to replace your 9 to 5 with your job, with your business. Please do yourself a favor. I wrote a Forbes article about it. Block your boss. The statistics are staggering
Yeah.
about the number of people who believe that their boss is blocking their career. So
Mm,
go ahead, block your boss so that way you can show up on LinkedIn. You can actually advertise yourself the way that you want to be able to show up. If you are the world's best scientist and you currently work for Coca-Cola, but you're trying to do your own thing because you want to be a performer, you want to do this perfume, then you may need to block your boss at Coca-Cola and your entire team while
yeah.
you build up the brand. And I am telling you this from experience because I personally have been doing coaching for about 6 years and I was the best kept secret. That's a danger. That is not a compliment. You do not want to be the best kept secret in this day and age. People
Yeah.
need to know your name. People need to know your business. So, in order to do that, please block your boss and I guarantee you you will show up so differently.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about what is this person going to say? What are they going to do? No, you're able to be who you are.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that I tell people.
And
The
I like
second
that.
thing,
Wait, before you
oh
go
yeah.
into the second thing, one thing I wanted to say, this actually reminded me of something that I should have mentioned yesterday because I met somebody who, when we were talking about like who was the longest in business and everything, she said she just started, but she's still in her full-time employment, and she works in education. But guess what? Her business that she's going into and that she's developing and creating that foundation is also in education, right? So this would have been something really good to let her know, because even though it's not necessarily a competitor, right, of what she's doing at work, but it is still down the same line. And even as she's trying to build connections with inside the school systems, you might not want to have people eyes and stuff on you, right? And then even if you are a full-time entrepreneur, but then you're trying to get a little part-time something here, or something happens where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get back to work so I can get to this next level of X. We want to make sure that we're able to keep what we have going to the side, separate from what we have to do for a job.
Yes, that is so true. So many people are at that stage now. So I feel like that's the best step. So as we talk about being a powerhouse, powerhouses make power moves. And the first power move is, if you have not been an entrepreneur and you're still working, block your boss. The second thing is to ensure that you have a profile picture. I'm pretty sure 90% of us have been scammed. I don't know if everyone was on the call, but I am a former Facebook employee, and I would get over 100 inboxes, emails from friends, family members, just people who saw that I worked at Facebook. My account is hacked. Because of that, people now do not trust you. So if you don't have a photo up, you will not be able to connect with people. I don't connect with people if they don't have a photo. No, block. No, I don't know who you are. You will not be able to do, because I have too many powerful connections.
Yeah.
So be sure that you have that profile picture set up. Now, today with AI, it's incredible. Take a stranger. Listen, I'm not even kidding. What I did is, before my children were a bit older, I literally had this teenager was at the mall, I believe. And I was like, could you take a picture of me? And teenagers know how to way to angle it. And she was like, go over here to the light. And she got my picture where it looked very nice, very professional. But it was a way for me to have a headshot to use for LinkedIn as a way to stand out in all of the crowd. So please be sure that you have a photo. And I know that just seems like, oh, everybody knows that. If everybody knows it, why isn't everybody doing it?
Yeah.
So it's
And then
one of
also
those
like an
things.
updated photo too, because maybe our
Yes,
photo
it's
is
20. Those photos
outdated.
was 20 years ago, and then I see it, I'm like, who is Hypo? Who's this woman?
I'm dead.
So just please make sure that you do that. The third thing that's a power move: stop only talking about your company. I see so
Mm,
many people, and I told Ashley this. All
yeah.
she had was digital marketer SEO. And I'm like, okay, well, what can you do for the people?
Mhm.
Especially if you have a career. If you are in a career, the best thing that you can do is to talk about what you can do for the company. For
Yeah.
example, people who are in branding. A lot of people are marketers right now. But as a way to stand out, say that you are a brand whisperer. You turn ideas into gold.
Mm.
Mic drop, right? Like, I'm not just saying I am a digital marketer. No, I am a brand whisperer. And then my ideas turn into gold. Or let's say if you are someone who has to do with analytics, we had a what was she, an accountant? No, she was not an accountant. She was a bookkeeper.
Mm.
So as
Yeah.
a bookkeeper, she could say that I am an analytics ace, turning numbers into knowledge or turning numbers into wisdom. Well, what will that wisdom do for me? It'll help me save money. It'll help me know
Yeah.
where I'm doing the expenses at. So
Mm.
I'm not just a bookkeeper. I am an analytics ace. I can help you. I want to spend money with you. For
Mm.
Facebook, everyone's like, it's social media. No, it's not. Facebook is all about connections. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
A connections in a community. That's what they are known for. So what will do you want to be known for? I want to be known for a powerhouse. I want to be known for, out of the $100 million, I want you to be able to add another zero. So I want you to get a pot of this $100 million, and how much can I add to you? Is it 30,000, 50,000, 100,000? But I want to add another zero to you. Isn't that powerful? She's just not another career coach. She's adding zeros to my bank account. That's a powerful message. And it's just things that people want. Like Ashley is
Yeah.
the SEO bestie, but she has a powerful statement about all the things that she can do. Not just, I can update your website and make it look pretty. Everybody can do that. No, what can I do for you? I'm
Yeah.
your bestie with this. And what will your bestie do? Your bestie will hold your hand because this stuff can get confusing. So
Mm.
make it a way for you to stand out above the crowd.
Look, let me get my notepad out. Hold on a second. Let me get my notes out because it is, and sometimes I feel like it takes talking it out loud to really figure
Yes.
out what your special sauce is, or what, like
Mhm.
when I was in the conference out in Philly, what's our superpower, right? What is it that makes us different? And sometimes we don't know how to articulate it in a few phrases, but when we have conversations and really unpack what it is that we do, it allows for people to be like, oh girl, this is it. That's what sets you apart. And that's kind of exactly what happened to me yesterday. I was talking about what I was doing to the keynote speaker. Okay, to the keynote speaker. And he was like, oh, so yeah, you do a little bit different. You kind of take a different approach, because he used the term holistic approach with marketing. I was like, I love that, because I use that same terminology, right? Really looking at marketing as a whole, seeing where I can really infuse SEO, and understanding that if it has a search bar, it needs to be optimized. So I gave him the example about a student that was in my recent class, and he has a granola company, and he's on Amazon. And I was trying to tell him, yes, Amazon needs to be optimized, buddy. Like, it needs to be optimized. And so he was like, so I can do SEO on here too, like not just my website? I'm like, absolutely. And so what's better way than to tell him than to show him, right? And so I'm walking through everything. I'm showing him side by side a granola company that's on the top 5 results, and then his granola item, right? And really doing a side by side, and letting him see the difference, showing, right? Letting him feel how everything kind of connects together. And so as I'm sharing this story, then he really understood the difference between me and the next SEO agency. And he was like, you know what? I might have something that I might need your help on, right? Not with my website, but with YouTube, right? And so if I wouldn't have spoke about this example, he would have just thought, just like you said, that I'm the next, SEO agency going to do the basic things. I take a different approach than the average marketing company. So one of my homeworks is to make sure that I'm articulating that in a short, concise way, where they're like, okay, she's a little bit, let me see how different she is, right? Let me see how, what an SEO bestie can do, right? That's going to have your back. That's going to make sure to look at all the angles, find all the small details, right? All of those things. So that's one of the things I like what you point out, is finding a phrase or something that kind of summarizes everything, but entices people to want to learn more. So that's one of the things I think I need
Absolutely.
to condense a little bit more. But I love it. So
Absolutely.
what you've been
No,
saying, yeah.
so while you were talking, and everybody, we do this all the time. Ashley will talk, or I'll talk, and I'll think of something. She'll think of something too. So as you were just talking about how you got him, what about saying you're going on a treasure map? Because everything for you is all about keywords, right? And
Mm-hmm.
keywords are your clue. So I'm going to give you a clue. X marks the spot. The treasure mark for you is to get the clients to come, and then it gives you like the gold, and you get all the payment and stuff. So that's a way to be like, hey, let me tell you how you should do it. Here is all of the ways that you're going to go on this treasure map. We have Amazon, we have your website, we have this, and each one, don't be overwhelmed. It gets very confusing, but I'm going to take you on this, and we're going to optimize this here. All right, we got
Mm,
another clue. Now we'll go
yeah,
to the next stage. We got another clue, and here we go. Now let's go to your Amazon page. Here's another clue, and we will tie everything, and even
yes,
what else we need to learn. So as a way to sort of
I
condense it.
love
Tell
that.
people you're going on a treasure map.
I love that because I always say that I'm connecting your marketing, connecting the dots to your
Yes,
marketing. But
yes,
instead of using that word, it's like making it a little bit more fun and taking them on a
yes,
treasure hunt to optimize their
yes,
online presence.
yes.
Love it. Okay, I gotta write that down.
And I did. I actually wrote it down this time, so
Okay,
I put it in the chat for
I
us.
was about to, I was about to ask you. I was like, girl, you wrote that down, right? Because once I start writing, you know what happens? Stuff starts falling out my brain. I'm like, wait, no, stop
Yep, yep,
disappearing.
yep, yes.
Guys,
So this
literally, ladies,
again,
we are
this
like this
is
all the
what
time. This
happens
is
when
how we
you're
are
connected with
all the
your
time.
mastermind. You just come off ideas. As she was speaking, I'm like, wow, that's what you just did. You just took that guy on a treasure map about what
Yes.
he can do. And it really lowers the barrier because the number
Mm,
one thing, I even told you this, like I know a lot about things, but it's so much. And then this is a way to let people know, hey, I'm going to guide you. Here's this step. And that's why you're doing this package. Because the next part of my packaging is this part. And you get to this
yes,
level. So like Mario, hey, you unlocked a new level,
I
but
freaking
you
love it.
gotta pay me.
My
You
brain is
got
like, wow. So this not only applies to LinkedIn, this applies to like everything, right? How we
yes,
speak in person, how we show
yes.
up on other platforms, and
Mhm.
really how we're able to allow others to talk about it. Because now it's in her bed, in her
Yeah.
mind. And so the next time
Yeah.
she has somebody that's like, girl, I'm
Yep.
trying to work on this and that, or my Google, da da da. And she's really big on Google reviews. So every time she talks about, I'm gonna give you a Google review, Ashley's gonna pop in her mind and she'll be like, girl, I know so and so, and she takes you on a whole treasure hunt, girl, to get you seen online. Like it's something that effective. Like it's crazy.
It
This
is.
is real life. Like I'm not making this up. Like this is literally what happens. Like so we literally like this is just us bringing our conversations to the world right now because we will start and we'll just go down this journey that ends up uncovering things, actionable steps, and things that we can be doing to better our business. So I really love it. Okay, what other gems you
100%.
have?
100%. Another thing about LinkedIn, the third tip or fourth tip. Dang, I
Mm,
should have written them all down because now you got me really excited about it. Is the power of events. LinkedIn
mm,
has events, but people don't do it the right way. Remember, we talk about here's the ordinary way, but here's powerhouses. This is what powerhouses do. They comment on the event.
oh,
Hey, this is the event. I'm really excited about it. Why I chose to come is I want to learn this. Number one, as a person, Ashley and I, we host a lot of events and we want to know what to talk about. We have a billion things that we could tell you, but if you don't want to learn about that, we'll scratch that off and then we can dive deep into exactly what you were hoping for. So
mm,
comment on the event. The second thing that you do during that actual event, comment again. I can't believe I'm
mm,
here. Today, since we last connected, this is top of mind. This is a question that I have. This is why this is so important. So remember the first time you commented, everybody saw your name.
yeah.
Everyone saw your name. So you should have got a connection from that. The second thing is when you're in the event, everyone is seeing your name all over again. But it also signifies that you are someone who is thoughtful and you're not just at the same level.
Mm,
And it also allows that speaker, if you need something from them, they're like, they paid attention to what I was saying. They didn't just come in and take free information. I really can be able to connect with them because what I do is most people ask to connect with me, but I don't connect with everyone. I will only connect with those people who have been active and let me know, like, hey, you're not just another person. You really are someone who I want to have. Because Ashley and I, as business owners, we're so too constantly. So I want to be sure that I'm connected to the right people. So when you comment during my event, game changer. Another way to do it is to share the event. And listen, you're like, well, I don't know who to share it to. It doesn't matter. I share my events to my cell phone. Just share it because
mm,
Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube is like, oh, somebody shared this live. They have no idea that it was the author. It just was shared. And it's a matter of me sharing it to somebody. And since it's off platform, they can't be able to be like, oh, well, this is just Lovely's phone number. No, I shared it to myself. I will share it to myself through email. I will share it to myself through a text message. And it's just shareable. But once again, Lovely's name is being at the top. That Lovely shared this event. I dare you to try it. I dare you to try it. On your event, it's going to tell you that these are power moves for powerhouses. This is a
Okay.
way for you to stand out. Okay, hold on. Okay, all right, wait, wait.
All right, hold on. So let's just break this down. So first, the person whose event we're going to has to be posted on there. So if like
Yes,
the event that we went to yesterday, what I should have did
yes.
was kind of look and see if it was live on
I
LinkedIn. Like
looked.
if it,
I looked. It wasn't. It wasn't.
okay,
But yeah.
so let's just say that it was, right? So
Yes.
if I'm going to an event, see where it's being broadcasted about, right? If
Yes.
it's on
Hmm.
LinkedIn, Facebook, because I think Facebook has events too, right? Like we
Yes.
can put events on
Instagram,
there.
TikTok,
Or even on
Eventbrite,
even
everybody.
on Google Business
Hmm.
Profile, you can put events.
Yes.
So we search to see where the
Oh
event.
shoot!
Yes, yes, girl, write that down. Yes, you
I
have a Google.
knew that. I knew that, but places where I need to host my event, I have not optimized that yet. As we talk about
Okay.
optimization, so
Yes,
it's going on there. It is
yes,
going on there. Look, look.
yes. So what you're saying is when we're going to an event or creating an event, we want to look for it or post it up on LinkedIn, right? So if I have another
Yes,
VIP workshop, I
yes,
can post it on LinkedIn
yes,
for an event. And then I can also
absolutely.
share it. So people that are
And
attending,
guess what? It's
what?
free 99. It's free
Okay.
99. You
We
don't
like
have to
that.
have a membership. It's free
You don't
99.
have to be premium or none of that
You
to
don't
do
have
it.
to be premium. You
Okay.
can post the event. And that's another great way for people to know about you is
Yeah.
that event.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I got to start utilizing that. So what I did today, I did post about the event that I went to on my
Yes.
LinkedIn. Like I put a picture and I even tagged the keynote speaker, but then I know that all the videos and all of my notes, I'm going to use that as a series, so to speak, and be like, oh, this is one of the, notes that I found that I took, taken back from that. That's one of my takeaways from XYZ speaker. So that way I'm not
Mhm.
just mentioning the person once, but it's like a soft, like, hey, remember me? Right? I went to this event and this was the keynote speaker. And then like a
Yeah.
few days, maybe I'll put about one of my top 5 things, my takeaways from his
That event.
his
Yep.
speech. So I think I'm trying to, okay. So we post the event. If the event
Yes.
is there, we
Hmm.
comment on the event.
Hmm.
And then
And even if it's not there, listen,
mm,
there have been some events that recently I've been started to do a lot of, and I even like posted about it. I said I'm often guilty about not telling people about the amazing events, but I'm going to do better. And then I posted the event out. A connection that I hadn't connected with in years reached out to me and was like, I'm going there too. Would love to connect. And I'm like, wow, this person is the director of, I can't, I can't remember. Like, she's a big deal. And because I posted that, she didn't end up showing, but we had already said, like, she inboxed me. We had already said, we're going to connect the Monday following another event. So I was still able to get with her simply because I shared an event from Eventbrite saying that I was going there and was excited about it. And here again, the things that I'm excited about to do and how it will help me as a business owner to impact my clients, people, networking, friends, things like that.
okay, cool. So even like sharing the link. I love that. So then,
Yeah.
and also, especially if you have something on your website, because this is the SEO person in me, if you have something on your website
Yeah.
that has your events or things like that, you can
Mm,
copy
yeah.
that, put that link into LinkedIn. So that way you can kind of get some of those traffic and stuff funneling into your website as well. I love
Yes.
this. Okay.
Yeah, no,
This
that's
one is
a
gonna
great,
be
great way. I did not think about the business profile. Listen, so for those of you who are not aware what a Google business profile is,
definitely-
again, free stuff. a lot of the things that we're talking about is free 99. You pay nothing but your time. That's why we say 99, because it will take your time to create this. But what she is sharing with me is that I can now all of the events. So I go live a lot. I do a lot of podcasts. I'm hosting events. I'm going to events. It's a great way, again, to lower the barrier and as well for Google to know more about me, to say, oh, she is doing these things, because Ashley let us know some gems. I'm not going to share it with you, but the power of an image, it definitely can speak 1,000 words. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Absolutely, absolutely, because that has to be another line for another day.
Yes, yes, yes.
but but absolutely strategizing, and even like what we're doing right now, right? We're talking about LinkedIn, but as you're talking, I'm cross-referencing to other things that are common to me, right?
Mhm,
Because at the end of what you're saying, it's a core step or action that we can do across the board, right?
mhm,
Same thing with our title and what we're doing on LinkedIn. Across the board, we want to make sure that we are enticing people, right? And really
mhm.
allowing them to want to join into our community, to join into our things. So I really just want to make sure. Oh, you're adding notes. Okay. I really just want to make sure that we understand that wherever we're talking about is one thing. I want you to start thinking, which is what we're being trained to do all the time now, is to
Yes,
think about, okay, she's talking about this specific thing, but then how can I utilize it XYZ
yes,
across the board of my online
yes,
presence? And that's when
yes.
stuff becomes really powerful. All
Right,
right.
right. All
Any
right.
other
So the
things you would like to talk about when it
final
comes to
one that I will
LinkedIn?
say, and then I will say everyone needs to come to my LinkedIn masterclass so that way we can do one-on-one. This is just overview things that you can go about doing.
Yes,
I'm gonna
absolutely.
hurt some
So,
people. I'm gonna hurt some people feelings here, but the section where it shows your experience, if there are no numbers there, please update them. Look at
what do
your
you mean by
profile
that?
experience. And if you say, I'm a customer service representative and I handle large volume of calls, what is that number? I need to know. Again, we're talking about adding zeros. Numbers mean something. Hey, I have had over X number of clients. What is that number? I need to know. I help clients
Mm,
every day. Well, how many? Who are they? Are they big
So if I
deals? Are
say
they
that I
small
host
businesses?
workshops,
Things like that.
yeah, so if I say I host workshops, I can now say I have hosted or had success in training over 100 small businesses in my workshops
Yes.
and classes.
Since and listen, if it's new, say
Yeah.
since a date. For myself, I have been on 7 podcasts since I left my full-time job, August
Ooh.
30th. That's
Okay, so
powerful.
since I went full time in my business, I have
Yes,
been able to successfully
yes.
help 100 small
Yes,
businesses with their SEO.
numbers matter. Numbers matter. So
Mm.
please update that, especially for you business owner. Everybody will judge you. Okay, they want to know who it is, even if it's 20. And I will share this. This is a bonus. I will share this. Just because you didn't get paid for it doesn't mean that it's not a client. So
Mm.
actually, last night had a client who is a Chase business person because she provided strategies, right? That is
Mm.
a client that she gave her time for. Consultations count as a client. If a person books you for a consultation, put them as your client. We didn't say that it was a paid client, but it counts. You gave your time, you gave your energy, and I guarantee you, you learned some things. Even if there was only 5 people on this stream, her and I learned some things about each other. We learned about treasure map. I learned
Yep.
about business profile for events. So it
Yep.
doesn't matter how many people showed up. It's the value that you get, that you grow, that you're critiquing your messaging and doing things.
Yeah.
Please be sure to count everything. Everything counts because you are learning and growing. That's a bonus
I
tip.
love that. And that should also help us to feel confident when we're just out here doing our natural selves and pouring into others, that those things count towards our resume, if you will, of the things that we have been able to do for people. So can you tell us a little bit about when is your next class? Like, we know that, okay, we got some of the gems, we know based off what you're saying, you have a lot more. Right, you have a lot more. So where's your next LinkedIn
Yes.
masterclass? Like,
Mhm.
how can we do it? Is it in person? Is it virtual? What can we
Yes.
expect, and where can they go to find
Absolutely.
out more?
Absolutely. So you can find me at Love Leisure Story for YouTube transformational talks where I provide insights on every platform that I've been on because depending on who they are, it's a different messaging. For Ashley's Amplify My Biz. But next week, this exact same time, I'm going to be with a life and love coach where we're talking about why you should not sacrifice your career for your love.
Mm,
Or you should not sacrifice your love for your career. It doesn't
mm,
have to be a sacrifice. So I'm excited about that one. That's the next talk. Every Tuesday, I have a LinkedIn class. Every
okay.
Tuesday at 6 p.m. Uh, Central Standard Time, I have a LinkedIn class. I'm doing more on Eventbrite, so I'll be sure to let everyone know about that. It's going to be more on Google, but the best way to know about what I'm doing is follow me. Follow
Yeah.
me on all platforms at Lovely Is Your Story, and you won't miss anything. I share the real and raw, but I really give insights and most of all strategies. A lot
Yeah.
of the things that we need to know is strategies, and I have
Mhm.
a ton of them. I have made Facebook billions, and so now I want to help you to add zeros to your bank account.
That's amazing. And then just know that the strategies are not far out, right? That we can't reach them. They're actionable steps. These are things that literally sometimes you'll be like, okay, girl, yeah, I told you, did you go right now, go right now and get it done? So I know that it did. Like, it's things that we can really get done, and it allow for us to keep this fire of our business and of our self brand and all the things, keep it going, right? And to really, like you said in the beginning, remain a student, right? And continue to learn and enhance the way that we show up, right? Both online and in person. So I thank you so much for this. It was so amazing. I know we could talk for literally hours. We could talk for hours. Every time we're together, we always just strategizing and helping, pouring into each other. So I do appreciate you. Always appreciate your time. And just know that if you are trying to really grow your personal brand, right? To grow yourself and becoming the powerhouse of your brand, right? And learning to get into these speaker rooms and to just really maximize LinkedIn, especially if you're doing business to business, right? How do we show up more professional? Sometimes on Instagram can be a little bit more fun, but how do we show up on that professional side? Even if we are, like, I know on Instagram, I saw that there was a hairstylist that was joining us, right? There's ways that she can show up on LinkedIn and gain her clients, right? I saw a therapist that joined us earlier. Like, there's ways that she can show up on LinkedIn to gain clients. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be strictly business to business, but there's ways in which
Absolutely.
you can show up, and you got to get into her class to learn more on how to do
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yes.
But lastly,
Yes.
before we wrap up, let's just tell them in a few short sentences how we came about to, like, okay, let's try a streaming platform, and
Yes.
let's do something different, right? We didn't let a failed attempt or attempts
Right.
stop us to figure out a
Yes.
solution that now is one of the solutions
Absolutely.
I've been trying to figure out all
Yeah.
along and have it written
Yeah.
down, so now I can finally cross that off. So just
Yeah.
briefly explain that.
Yeah, absolutely. So as oh, well, many of you don't know, maybe, but last week we tried to go live and Ashley's internet for whatever reason just kept kicking us off. And I said, we will not allow this to stop us because we kept getting kicked off. We already had an hour planned for us to talk. We sat down for 30 minutes and researched Restream, we researched other platform, and Restream ultimately was the best one where it allowed us both to go live. As you can see, we can hear each other clearly. It allows
Yeah.
us to talk about our topics, has our names. It's a really, really great way for us to be able to get to know each other and be be able to show up and be able to provide this valuable information to you all. So Restream is not a free platform, but it's free for you to try it out. And I
Yes.
dare you to try this, even if you are a professional or just new to business. It will transform who you are because you don't have to worry about virtual backgrounds. They have it all for you. You can
Yeah.
list your name, you can have your business, you could even have like where people can contact you at. Like we have it for Amplify My Biz, Connections, LinkedIn, and Restream. It helps you also to stay focused. Like, okay, we're going to talk about these three things. You know what you're going to get, and it really helps to entice other people. So I really would say check it out. It is restream.io, not .com. It's .I is an ice cream, O is an Oscar. Incredible platform. We might need to do Eventbrite about that, like to being able to share that. I think that'll be a good way. Like, hey, we don't just need
Yes.
to be powerhouses for SEO or for LinkedIn. Let us show you how to truly amplify your biz, and we can do maybe a course walkthrough through that through Zoom, where we share
Yep.
our screen and stuff. So more to
That
come.
sounds good. Yeah, exactly. And because it also goes like, I've been searching for this and you were using something as well. So it's
Mhm,
like we already
mhm,
started that process, but we didn't think to
mhm,
even try it. And that's one of the things I kept saying to people. I'm like, I'm doing the Amplify My Biz Live. I'm still figuring out like how I want it to look and feel as far as like what platform I
mhm,
want it to stay on. Right now it's on
mhm.
Instagram. But by having something like Restream, I don't have to
Yes.
decide that. I can
Nope.
now do these streamings and have it on multiple platforms at the same
Absolutely.
time. I can
Absolutely.
have them live if I want to. I can
Yep.
pre-record them if I want to, right?
Mhm,
Like there's so many things that have allowed me to
mhm.
just step away from being fearful and kind of
Yep.
get it done. And so sometimes it takes, a challenge in order to have a solution, right? And girl, let me tell you, it was a challenge because we did this at least 4 or 5
4
times.
times. 4
And
times, yeah.
I just want to say thank you to those that know exactly what we're talking about and who were loyal. They
Yes.
kept hopping on because they
Absolutely.
kept hopping on.
Yes. Yes. Thank you
We
all
were
so
like,
much.
yes. And the thing about it, real quick, even for Lovely, like you had somewhere to go that day. And so we
Mhm,
spent so much time on there. And at first I was like,
mhm,
I felt so bad. I'm like, I know you have to go, you have to get to this event.
mhm.
And you're like, girl, this is a sign that we need to find a solution
Absolutely.
right now. You're like, it can wait. I got 20 more minutes. Let's figure this out. And I was looking through inboxes of some other people that I have seen them do some type of streaming, and
Yes.
we was Googling which
Yes.
one would be the right one. We're like, you know what? Let's just do
Mhm.
this. And then when you
Yes.
uncovered how the paid version would be better for what you're doing, then that's how we were
Mhm.
able to do this. But even
Yeah.
using it, the free version is not going to have all the bells and whistles, but
Right,
just
because we
try
were
to do
able to
it.
go live, it just
Yeah,
wasn't 2 Instagrams at the same time. So
absolutely.
that's the thing. Like, you can go live,
Yeah,
but for my people, they weren't able to see it, but what was good was that I just told them to go to Ashley's, and, like, the message at the bottom, it tells us, like, where to follow us and stuff, so
absolutely.
I do like it, and now the free version still offered those things. You just can't go live to 2 Instagrams at the same time like you
Yeah,
can with the paid version. So you
yeah,
just decide.
yeah,
I
exactly.
particularly, it's $15 a month. I just don't go out to eat for one time a month.
Mhm.
It's minimal cost for you to ensure that you can get the things that you need because again, nobody wants to be the best kept secret, okay? We need the world to know our names.
Absolutely. This has been amazing. And just real quick, I was
Mm,
looking at the comment. Patrice, she mentioned, let me go back to it. She mentioned that it sounds like a class that she would need when you were speaking about your LinkedIn class. That's my engineer girl,
mm,
man. She has
mm.
business, professional, and doing the thing. And so
Yeah,
people that understand what you were saying about blocking the bosses and really
yeah,
amplifying the way that they're showing up on LinkedIn.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
one person said they were glad they were able to catch it. Great
Yeah.
information, and I know more is just
Yeah.
going to continue to come in, but I just want to say
Yeah.
that, you know, sometimes you don't need to have it all together, but just keep on
Nope.
pushing, right?
Nope.
And have people in your corner that's going to
Yes.
not necessarily hold your hand like, oh, you got it, but cheer you on,
Mhm.
right? Because sometimes you got to do
Mhm.
the dirty work.
Yes.
We have to do the dirty work. But having somebody next to us to be like, girl, keep doing the dirty work because on the other side, it's gonna be worth
So
it.
absolutely, absolutely. And a tag team partner. Ashley is now my tag
Amazing.
team person. So I am so excited. Thank you all so
Yeah.
much for this. This is one of many. We're gonna go live on TikTok. We're gonna go live on LinkedIn. I believe I see some comments in the message, so I think it worked for LinkedIn because I've done it on my own. So
Okay.
I think that we're good to go. Did you see? Can you go to LinkedIn, Ashley, to see if you see that we're live on LinkedIn? Because I went and it shows, but the comment are just now coming through. So does it
Okay.
show that for
So I
lovely
will
Marshall
have to
is really
go to. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm gonna search for you, and then it should show that you're
mhm.
live.
Yep, uh-huh. It's just like for IG.
Okay. Oh, it does.
I thought so because I'm seeing like all the comments now, but maybe the person just joined. That's probably why. Like maybe they're just now joining because I'm like, wait, what? We're about to end this. You guys are gonna have to come to our next one. So LinkedIn, we went live. I went live through YouTube and through our Instagram. And remember, the platform that we are on is Restream. We are gonna come back and we will do a screen share about it. Since it is a paid platform, we might just do like a all-in-one where we'll do restream. We'll look at you all's profiles maybe, but it'll be a small fee for you all to enter it. But it's powerful information that people are really like you. This isn't the people who 10 years and their strategies no longer work. We are in it. We are learning, we are growing, and like they said, the things are crisp. It's making us look more legit. So get the information right now, hands on, and excited.
Yes. All right. This has been amazing. I thank you so
Yes,
much for your time, girl. And I had the house has been quiet, so like I
yes,
want to end it on that before
yes.
anybody comes barging